The CDC recently added Mexico to its very high-risk category. The reason is that Mexico recorded more than 500 COVID-19 cases per 100,000 cases in the past 28 days. Mexico joins more than 100 others already on CDC's level 4 list. Being on that level doesn't mean travelers are restricted to visiting. It just means the CDC is recommending extra precautions if traveling there. Here to talk to us about what precautions travelers should take if they're planning a trip to Mexico soon is Gabe Saglier, Senior Communications Manager at TravelZoo. Gabe, good morning to you.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Gabe, despite the CDC's urging of people to avoid Mexico, it certainly has not stopped people from seeking it out as a vacation destination.
No, I mean, people come to our website at TravelZoo to search destinations near and far. I got to say, all of 2021, Mexico was by far the #1 most searched destination. And then when we look at numbers from last month, January, where we saw international searches in general go up quite significantly, Mexico, again, on top of that list. So clearly, we are ready for vacations. We're starting to look at spring break in summer. There's a major value proposition when we look at south of the border destinations. So, yeah, that's keeping Mexico at the top of many travel lists out there as we begin to feel more comfortable again with traveling out there. But these, as you mentioned, Greg, we've got about 150 countries on the level 4 list, the USA among them. So it just reminds us that some precautions probably make sense as we begin to plan our travel.
Well, let's talk about those precautions. When travelers get to Mexico, what do they need to have ready upon arrival when it comes to COVID?
So all pandemic long, Mexico really has had one of the lowest thresholds to entry anywhere on the planet. You don't need a negative COVID test to get in there. You don't, there are no quarantine requirements. So that sort of looser entry gate, if you will, has certainly lured a lot of folks south of the border who feel comfortable with traveling, maybe because they're fully vaccinated and boosted, and that's allowing them that extra comfort level. When you get to Mexico, you're going to be dealing probably with things like health questionnaires at airports, and then every resort will have its own set of restrictions, like mask requirements in public spaces, sanitation protocols, pretty heightened as well. So that's the extent of much of what's COVID-generated, COVID-inspired south of the border. As you know, to get back into the U.S. from Mexico, as with any global destination, you're going to need that negative COVID test the day before you travel back home. And again, most of those resorts south of the border do offer them on site, often for free or for a very nominal charge.
Gabe, as you said, each resort sort of has its own set of different rules. I know Mexico also has a system of restrictions that differ from state to state. For example, where Puerto Vallarta is may be different from Cabo San Lucas. So what do people need to expect there?
That's right. Mexico has a 4-tier system. It's based on colors, so green, yellow, orange, and red. Most of these destinations that we might be eyeing for vacations, like you mentioned, the state of Jalisco, where Puerto Vallarta is, or Cabo San Lucas, even Mexico City, they are at Mexico's yellow level. So just above green, where cases tend to be lower than some other states across Mexico. The eastern part of Mexico, Cancun, Playa del Carmen, they are at level orange. So that's Mexico's 4-tier system. So if you look at that system, clearly these are very desirable resort destinations where I'd say protocols are more heightened and much more driven by authorities on the ground, tend to be looked at as safer places to go. And in fact, we are seeing a lot of activity to places like Cabo San Lucas and Puerto Vallarta in particular.
Gabe, I've got a little bit of time here, but if someone does not feel comfortable and decides to postpone a booking, is there some extra leeway that we're seeing amidst kind of this new rise in cases in Mexico?
Yeah, so that's, I think, the great news generally for consumers, that unprecedented flexibility that the travel industry set in place, inspired by concerns around COVID, are still very much in effect. So canceling your flight even the day before without incurring change fees when you rebook, for example. You're holding onto that credit for a year plus in many cases. And of course, a lot of the cancellation policies on the ground at resorts across Mexico also very lenient. So at the end of the day, there is that safety net that consumers now continue to play with should plans need to change last minute. We're also seeing a surge in interest around things like pandemic coverage when it comes to travel insurance, which folks who never would have considered that probably pre-pandemic are looking at more seriously now.
Yeah. All right. A lot of good information there. Gabe Saglier from TravelZoo. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Great to see you. Thank you.